Welcome back, everyone, to Yindy Yang. We have a special treat for you guys. Our special guest star, Roger Hood.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Of course, thank you for coming.
All right.
So we're going to be dropping some knowledge with you guys, and he's going to be sharing his journey. So let's get started. So once again, we have here Roger Hood, a brother of mine, and he is a professional basketball athlete. He's played in North America and
Latin America.
And he's going to be sharing a little bit about his vegan journeys with you guys too. So
It's been an interesting journey when it comes to my plant-based lifestyle, which started about 2 years ago officially. What got me thinking about it was my experience in college. Once you get to that level of playing basketball and doing all this schoolwork, you need more energy to be able to compete. So I was looking for more ways in order for me to compete and to improve my lifestyle and my habits. I would look around and see other guys on my team who were seniors, who had more knowledge and experience than me at the time, who were at the cafeteria eating salads and greens and vegetables and fruits. I'm looking at them like, how they this big and strong and this all they eating? Right, I'm going to cafeteria eating brownies and omelets and cookies, all that type of stuff. It made me realize that, okay, I need to change my lifestyle and eating habits a little bit. As the years went by, I was slowly making improvements. It wasn't just like I just went full, head of steam into just vegan lifestyle or plant-based. It was gradual in the process of me getting to that point. For me, it really changed a lot when I had finished my first year overseas, and I really wanted to take my lifestyle and health to another level. And that's when I started doing more research on vegan and vegetarian lifestyles and realized that the foods that I was eating, especially a lot of the meat, weren't really helping me when it came to the on-court performance and just my lifestyle and health altogether.
So was there any problem that encouraged you to want to change those habits?
Absolutely. So in high school, I dealt with a lot of knee problems. I had chronic tendonitis in my knees, and I went to so many different doctors and specialists, and nobody could really give me a clear-cut answer or even help as to what I could do to improve it. Once I started doing more research and I actually made that change and said, you know what, it was about 2 years ago, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna cut the meat out altogether. And one of the first things I noticed is my knees weren't hurting nearly as much because the main cause of the tendonitis was inflammation in my knees.
Yeah, inflammation is huge.
Exactly. They call it jumper's knee because, when I'm playing basketball, you're doing a lot of cuts and a lot of jumping and put a lot of pressure on your knees.
A lot of stress.
Exactly. So it was constantly inflamed and it was constantly tender. And once I cut those certain things out of my eating habits and lifestyle, that inflammation went away. And my knees felt great. I was able to do more. I was able to practice longer. And altogether, I just felt better,
So I do want to say something on that inflammation. So inflammation is our body's response so that our body can heal. What inflammation is, it's an influx of fluids, primarily blood, and blood is what carries our nutrients throughout our body, not just oxygen, but the things that we've stored in our body so that we can use it later on to heal. And so the reason you have chronic inflammation is because you put a lot of stress on those joints. And the reason why the inflammation remained there is because of the food that you were taking in. Because when you do take things that are high in sodium or high in solutes, our body offsets that by increasing the fluid intake so that our cells can stay at the size and at the shape as it's supposed to. So you were talking a lot about your food, and I know a lot of people always look at people who eat plant-based like, how are you keeping your weight as where it's supposed to be? What would you have to say to people who say things like that?
For me, it was interesting because I did get a lot of questions like that, especially as a professional athlete, and people who are involved in your career, they want to make sure that you can withhold your weight and actually be strong enough to be able to stay in the weight room and perform on the court. And what was interesting about that is literally everything that people were scared of happened to me. It was the complete opposite. I felt stronger. I was able to run and work out longer. I just had more energy altogether. And that would be the second thing that was very, very obvious to me that changed when I decided to change into a more plant-based lifestyle, is that I had way more energy. You know what I'm saying? And in terms of what you just asked me, in terms of gain weight and things like that, it made sense because now I was a lot more conscious and aware of what it is that I was putting in my body and the contents of those things, right?
Yeah, the ingredients.
What's the actual nutrition that's in it, and the proteins and the carbs that come along with these different foods, which allowed me to better reach my goals because I knew exactly what the outcome would be if I continued to eat these foods and how much of it and how often. I would be able to gain muscle the way I want to and be able to work out as long as I want to. I have more freedom in terms of what I could do on the court and in the weight room. And then it really translated to everything that I was doing outside of that as well when it became more of a lifestyle.
Right. Lifestyle.
Exactly.
Not just a diet, but a whole change in life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it made me kind of want to know more about it. I was curious as to why I had more energy when I'm eating more vegetables, plants, and fruit. And in doing that research, I learned that First of all, people would always ask me like, "Oh, how are you doing this?" And one of my answers would be well, do animals produce protein? Or where do the animals get their protein and their nutritional value from? And most people would think, well, they create it, or they just have it's just in their DNA. No, they get it from somewhere.
They have a source.
Yeah, they get it from somewhere. They actually get it from plants. And then you ask, well, all animals don't eat plants.
That's true.
Well, all animals eat something that eats a plant. Right.
It's the source.
Exactly. It all comes back to the plants. But then you ask, well, where do the plants get
it
their
from?
energy
Right.
from, right? And then that's when I found out that they get it from the sun. But we always kind of knew this because in elementary school, we learned about photosynthesis, right?
Yeah.
We learned that through the process of photosynthesis, these plants are taking the energy directly from the sun and using that to create.
Yeah. The sun is the catalyst for so much life.
Exactly.
The sun takes the molecules and it brings them together to create CHO, glucose, carbohydrates, the source of so much life within us. It's the source of most of our energy. I mean, a lot of people don't realize this, but our brain can only use one source of energy, and that's glucose. And when our body doesn't have glucose, it goes into this state of ketosis, which is why a lot of people with diabetes, they have so many problems, and sometimes it translates into mental health, as far as not like mental health diseases, but as far as neural capacities go. They lose certain functioning because their brain is not getting this beautiful essential source of energy, glucose. And so they experience ketosis. So the problem with ketosis is that it increased the acidity in our body. And so the reason why a lot of people with diabetes, they experience this state of acidosis is called ketoacidosis, because our body's creating its own source of energy that is not sustainable.
That makes a lot of sense. So basically what you're telling me is everything that we considered as food comes from the sun in some way, form of another. You know?
Absolutely.
So with that being said, it made a lot of sense why I had more energy when I switched to this lifestyle.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Clean energy.
Yeah, and as we know, we need energy to perform all of our tasks. Everything is energy. We are energy, right? So if we can attune to higher forms of energy, then we're going to attract higher forms of energy, higher vibrations, more abundance, you know, people who are on a similar path as us, more opportunities that come our way that are of higher vibrations, because that's what we're tuning ourselves to, right? That leads me to the third thing that I noticed was more mental clarity. Or what's interesting about that is Nikola Tesla actually talked about some of these things. He says that more energy means higher levels of operating power for our consciousness. Meaning that if we have more energy, now we have more energy to go out and learn. Now we're processing energy at a higher rate because the energy comes from the sun, information comes from the sun. And so if we're at lighter density and our minds are more clear, now we can download more information. And we actually have more energy to go out and seek that information. A lot of people who go and work 9 to 5s or at school all day, they get home, they don't want to do nothing. They ain't got the energy to go down and go learn and figure out what they need to do to achieve their goals. They'd rather throw on Netflix and chill because they ain't got no more energy. Right? And I do it too sometimes. But hey, if we have more energy to draw from, we have more energy to draw from, then we would be more prone to doing more things that are going to help us reach higher levels of consciousness, higher levels of awareness.
Our
and
possibilities would be limitless.
and then growth altogether.
We'd be limitless. We would be absolutely limitless. And something I do want to talk about too, as you talk about mental just clarity, and we talk about these foods and the power behind it, our brain, our actual neurons do not function at a certain pH. When our body gets into a high acidic state, as we mentioned in our earlier video, why pH balance in our body is so detrimental is because it also affects our mental capacities. And what controls our whole body? The brain.
Yep.
If our brain is not functioning the way it's supposed to, our body is not functioning the way it's supposed to. And that's why it's so, a lot of people, I don't know if you can attest to this, but a lot of people who do pick up a plant-based lifestyle, they experience a lot more mental clarity. And I think that, I know it has to do with the fact that a plant-based diet promotes more alkaline pHs. And for those of you who haven't viewed my most recent video, pH is essential. Having a slightly more alkaline pH, our body functions at an optimal pH of 7.35 to 7.45. And out of that pH range are fatal results. A lot of times we die, or our bodies and organs stop functioning properly. And that's why a lot of people on a plant-based lifestyle experience so much mental clarity and energy, essentially, because not only are we getting our sources from clean foods, from the plants, from the fruits, from the grains, but we're also reducing the acidity content in our bodies. This has been an amazing conversation. I really hope you guys have just taken so much from it, because I know I have. Like, this has been fantastic for me.
I'm learning too.
Okay? Man, just bouncing off each other, growing from each other has been a beautiful experience. But we do have to bring this to a close, you guys. And before we go, we have some quotes for you guys. So, what we got, Roger?
Another quote from Nikola Tesla, dealing with what we've been discussing. He says that many races living amongst exclusively on vegetables are of superior physique and strength. There is no doubt that some plant foods, such as oatmeal, is more economical than meat, but is also superior to it in regard to both mechanical and mental performance.
And that really just sums up what this conversation has been about. I do have one more quote for you guys, so Roger shared one. I got one too, also from Nikola Tesla. That we can subsist on plant food and perform our work even to advantage is not a theory, but a well-demonstrated fact. I mean, if you look at us, I'd say we're both doing phenomenal in our own regards to what we are doing in life. And the fact that we are on this lifestyle, this journey of our own is just, I don't know, I can't speak for you, but I know for myself that being vegan or just being on a plant-based lifestyle has just changed the trajectory of where I've been going, just because of the mental clarity. And we all know, like, the brain, the mind is the source of the reason everything around us is the way it is. Our perception is reality.
Right.
And everything starts up here.
Absolutely. Add on that, it's not up to me to go and tell you how to live your life. And I've gone on this journey is because of my own research and my own goals that I've had, and dealing with what it is that was going to help me to reach those goals. It just helps take some self-reflection.
Yes.
And then just a little willingness to go out there and do the research on your own.
And find your own balance, you guys.
Come up with your plan and stick to it.
That's all Yin and Yang's about, finding the balance in your life. So once again, go check out the Instagram page for the channel, y.indya.ng. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share. Share this knowledge, share this information. If not, then what's the point? But it's been great, you guys. Until next week, let's go live life.
Live life. You heard her.